It's been sitting in the garage. I've done nothing but make the payments on the car. The cheapest twin turbo R8 in the USA. Sounds like a great idea. I can promise you, it's not. This car, I bought a 2008 Audi R8 with a Hefner twin turbo kit from a guy in Arizona after we had a lot of phone conversations going into this, and I was like, I want, a cool supercar that's cheap, and those things always go together. We know from many YouTube videos that cheap supercars are the way to having an empty wallet. So I pulled the trigger. I paid $55,000 for this car. And one of my friends, a good friend, novice car collector on Instagram, if you guys follow me, has one of the coolest car collections in Phoenix, Arizona. It's out of control. And he's a guy that I truly trust to do like a PPI. And he went over, checked out the car. I didn't even know if the car was real, right? Because it was just a couple phone conversations we had had. And I was, hoping the seller was legit. And the seller had described basically exactly what Jordan came back and said. He gave me some like really in-depth details that the seller had never told me. And I was like, it's good enough. Wire the money, which is, it's a weird thing to just wire somebody a big stack of cash and not have a title or a bill of sale or escrow or anything. You're just trusting them that hopefully you're going to get a car out of the deal and hopefully it's not stolen. So it all worked out. It got picked up about 2 weeks later, shows up at my house, and I knew all along it was dead. He had told me that it was down a cylinder, but it would only cost like $5,000 to fix it. No big deal. Plenty of shops. They all said it was no problem at all to fix an R8 engine. Well, it turns out that's not true. The rest of the car was great. We push it off the trailer, get it into my garage, and I was like, cool, let's tear this thing down. We'll get the engine out. It's no problem. I do engine outs all the time. It shouldn't take more than a day or two to get an engine out, and then we'll just pick one up, or we'll fix the engine and we'll throw it back in. A couple $1,000s later, we'll have the cheapest twin turbo R8 in the country, and I'll be out driving it around, having a great time, and living up my dreams from Iron Man and, of course, iRobot. That's not how it went. I quickly found out after calling all the shops that will work on R8 engines that first, they're not going to touch it. And the V8 is not a good engine, especially in the R8 platform. And if you want to do it, you have to have custom pistons made and probably sleeves. And you basically have to build an engine from scratch. It's not like the V10. If you have a V10 R8, all this stuff's readily available. There's tons of shops doing it. They know how to build the engine. It's obviously incredibly popular, dead reliable, a great car. The V8 is the opposite of everything I just said. I pretty much found out within a week or two that my only option was buying a brand new engine. Went to the Audi dealership, talked to them for a long time, and we came up with a pretty good deal. I ended up paying $20,000 instead of the retail $25,000 to get the one Audi R8 engine that was in the country. It was in New York. It had just been shipped over from Germany. It was a couple more weeks to get it to Wichita. They handed me a big wooden crate straight out of Germany, and it was beautiful. It was kind of cool getting one of the only V8s in the country that were brand new. No big deal, we'll just throw that engine in. But it's not really that simple. We ended up waiting a lot longer to get the exhaust manifolds, which have built-in catalytic converters, a whole bunch of other little parts that obviously the dealers don't just stock. They're all R8 specific. And eventually we did get the parts. So about a year of me owning this car, it's been sitting in the garage. I've done nothing but make the payments on the car. Never driven it, never started it other than to drive it in the garage the very first day. But I've got an engine and I've got all the parts. So we decided to put it back together. So I thought I was ready. I clearly didn't have all the parts. That's just how working on cars goes. But we got the engine in. It took about a week of, working on it at night. We're not going crazy. Get it in there and it starts up, and man, I was the happiest person alive. I was like, I did it. This is it. The car. It's ready to go. We'll just send it down to Hefner. I'll have him give me a clean bill of health because it's a Hefner twin turbo kit. I want him to check over the turbo kit, say everything's good, throw his tune back on it because he originally built the car. He's got the tune files. Should be no big deal to just plug in the laptop, throw those, the stock ECUs had never been tuned, throw his tune on it because he didn't actually build the car. He sold the kit. A shop put it on there and the shop didn't tune the car. That's how I got it. I send it down there. It's gone for about 4 months and he checks over everything. He's like, man, Your work looks good. We went through everything else. We fixed a couple vacuum line routing issues with the turbo kit because that's a maze. And I can't tune the car. And I was like, hold on. I only shipped the car down here to get tuned. Well, there's a lot that goes into tuning the R8, and it's not that simple. He basically said, if you want me to tune it, I don't have those files. APR originally tuned the cars after I built them. So it either has to go to APR to a guy that no longer works there and see if they have the files. Maybe you'll be in luck. Or you can pay me the $10,000 for the development license so I can unlock these ECUs again and start from scratch. And I'm very happy he didn't just go for that without asking me. He said he was like, I assume you don't want to spend that. And at that point I had about 75,000, 80,000 in the car, which is getting close to all of the money for a 2008 gated R8 twin turbo car. It is a gated manual, which adds a good 10, 15,000. It helps a lot. I get the car back, and I thanked him profusely for not just fixing it and charging me $15,000. And I drove it home all the way from Florida to Wichita, never exceeding about 20, 30% throttle. I could basically do the speed limit, and that was about it. And it would take me about a minute to get to the speed limit and just babying the car, as lightly as you can baby something when there's $30,000 on the line that might just pop. I got it home, and we started working on getting it tuned again. So I found one tuner that said he can do it no problem, and I shipped him the ECUs, and he had them for about 2 months, and they just came back. I put them in very recently, and I started the car again. And I was like, this is it. We're in. He's got his base tune on here. It's got a true baseline tune for a turbo car. It's going to have, a close-ish air-fuel ratio. I can drive the car. And he was like, yep, take it out. 30% throttle. We're going to data log it, and we'll get you an actual tune written, and this car will be done. It started one time. And then I jumped back in and turned the key, and it no longer starts. This adventure continues. We're almost 2 years into me owning the cheapest twin turbo R8 V8 with a gated manual in the USA, and it still doesn't run properly. I think we're close though. This morning, before I hopped on a plane, it started one more time. So at least they're not bricked. I think we're doing all right here. I'm $90,000 into the car though. I originally bought the car thinking this is the YouTube silver bullet. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there thinking that. They're like, well, I can just buy a supercar and start a YouTube channel. It's an instant success, overnight even, That's not how that works. The R8 has been a loss leader for the channel from day one. It's been terrible in the views department. Originally, no one wanted to watch it. They thought it was stupid and that I had overpaid for it, which I still think I'm doing fine. I'll break even when I sell it. There's a lot of money in it, but it didn't help the channel one bit. And now I think the only reason people watch it is because we're so invested in finally seeing this car drive down the road and maybe make one full pull. I don't know if I have the heart to make a full pull because my heart can't sustain a $30,000 explosion. We probably could have solved this problem from the beginning by ripping the turbos off and just putting the engine back in it. But the problem is finding stock parts is kind of hard, and they're also very expensive. And I didn't think I could get a lot of money out of the turbo kit if I took it off the car. So the car is easily worth my 90 with the kit on it, and I knew I was going to have a lot of money in the car. But when I got it to Hefner, he was like, you should just take this kit off, because clearly I don't support it. I'm doing you a favor. And I was also on the phone with Tavares while he was working on that other V8 R8. He was like, please take the turbo kit off the car. And I was like, it's not coming off. And it would have solved the whole problem. It would have never needed tuned. If I could have just found some stock parts, it would have been no problem at all. And I'd have a great driver, super reliable, no problems ever. The V8s are bulletproof stock. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted the turbos.